The idea with this week is that we should try to find a way to measure continuation desire as an aspect of engagement in interactive stories and in games and in other kinds of experiences. And I made a theory about this, and I made a very simple way to measure it, but now we're trying to find a way to go more scientific into the problem by looking at a lot of other kinds of measures like EEG and like the brain waves, and also blood pressure and heartbeats and eye movements and a lot of other things. So the idea is to get a map of this landscape of the different possibilities we have. And also the idea is that in the end of the week we should have a kind of an idea of a pilot test, so we can test this way of testing engagement through continuation desire on a thing that I did called first person victim. I did it with two other students and another professor from Copenhagen, and we are going to see if we can develop a way in an easy fashion to do this, because then we can use it for development, we can use it to measure different things and so on. And the outcome is then that we can use that in the future for a variety of experiences, for example films, also in books and other things, but mainly interactive storytelling. Now it's the end of Tuesday, the second day here, and it's been really an interesting day here at the Heriot Watt. In the morning we had presentations by Alan and Neil about their work. Alan was talking about distributed drama management, how to make virtual users actually, so that you can try out different proposals and how to make stories more excited or more sad and so on. Actually, you as a story generator can actually send a message to the agents, and then they will find out if the story should be more sad or more happy, to say very simply. So the idea of modeling this virtual user is actually that you can try out different options of the different events, and these options are then kind of evaluated based on a trajectory of an arc, a story arc. And this story arc also makes sure that you develop your story in the right way. So that was actually interesting, because suddenly you have an idea of doing different, you could use plot-based narratives, for example. You could imagine that you have a lot of clips with different events that were more sad or more happy, and then this virtual user could be used to compare these events. Then Neil was talking a lot about how to evaluate engagement with different measures like psychophysiological measures or biometrics and all these kind of hardcore measures. Also questionnaires and observations and all these kind of things. And I think what was most interesting was that actually NASA is using engagement or measure of engagement based on EEG to find out if pilots, they're still attentive to the task that they're doing. And maybe we can use that somehow in our way of evaluating continuation desire. Then after lunch we had, so in the afternoon we talked more about these things, Sandy and I, and tried to sum up all the different things we have. Yeah, we have gotten today here, and we have a whole whiteboard filled with different words and so on. And then at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Judy Robertson came by, and we had a nice talk with her where she talked a little bit about how she actually thinks about the concept of engagements, which she agrees is kind of a floppy concept. So we actually also talked about how she's using it in her work, and also how it could possibly be evaluated, and she gave us some ideas of doing different things, like more exploratory approach instead of trying to test the hypothesis. So the idea is that we go out and we try to get as much data as we can, and then we compare these different parameters, and we take a look at what maybe could be related, and then based on that we will try to find a way to predict when people actually want to stop. Sandy also mentioned a guy called Pop, who talks about the falsification theory, where you actually try to find out when people, they are not engaged, for example, they are disengaged, and these different things. So here by the end of day 2, I think we have gotten much further ahead on these things, and it's going to be interesting to see what we can do tomorrow when we will try to summarize all the things and put them down to paper and try to find a way to structure all this information. Yeah, so today it's the 3rd day of my stay here at Heriot Watt University, and today we have a plan of looking more concretely into the different possibilities of measuring continuation desire. We also want to find out how we can find outlets, which conferences, which journals, which books we can aim for when we have some results. And the goal also today is to start to create some models and some frameworks on how to use the different methods that we have found the last couple of days. So it's going to be a very interesting day also because we're going to have an interview with Tusha about what he thinks about engagement and what he uses it in his field of psychology in order to make a map of what are being done in other fields concerned with evaluating engagement. It's now the end of the 3rd day, it's afternoon, and we actually did a lot of interesting stuff today. We started the morning talking about different things. Sandy and I tried to nail down the different things that we needed to include in the paper, and we also talked about the falsification of experiments. We had a long talk about how to actually make an experiment where we test on what makes people not want to continue. For example, boredom or frustration, or it could be different things that makes people not want to continue within games and movies and books and different things. Yeah, so we are coming to an end of the 4th day, and today we met in the morning, and again we discussed where we are and where we're going to be. And then we had a meeting with Ruth Aylett, and it was really nice to hear her ideas about what the future of interactive storytelling could be, and also about how AI and other things could be used to help doing these things and so on. And now Sandy just joined. So are you ready for a little interview? If you stand up there and answer the questions.
Answer the questions.
Where are we now? What do we need to do in order to proceed?
Right, where are we now? I think right now we've done quite a lot of soul searching, a lot of work on actually identifying what would be the next step in terms of research program for this work, and identify the concepts we can use so as to actually align our research agendas, both at Aalborg University and Heriot Watt and the Digital Story Lab. So I think this has been very productive. We have identified a number of potential partners and colleagues that are engaged and brought up to the program we are designing. So I think it is now a question of putting the wheel into motion and actually trying to expand on this and really look at what that collaboration can actually bring to writers from our perspective, and help other people doing other type of performance related narrative and interaction, and how the actual continuation desire can help them in maybe assessing their work so that's where we are right now.
Yeah, and while you were away, I just wrote up the things we needed to do according to our plan. The things that we didn't do yet, are we working on it? We have a theoretical landscape we should cover. We should define a framework where we work within, describe the typology of it. Of course, this is more or less related to the first 3 of them. And then we should also try to describe maybe tomorrow a pilot experiment, just with what we have so far, and have an initial go on describing the protocol. because that's also something we're gonna work on and enhance and make better as we go. And the paper outline also, a little bit more into that. We should also do that. And also we should talk a little bit about the success rate for the predictor. How big do we need, or how successful should it be in order to use it for adaptive games and interactive stories and so on. And in the end, what is the predictor? And right now it's like, when you stop playing, you're not engaged anymore, right? So I think that's more or less what we work on, and now we're just doing a little to-do list for tomorrow morning. So it's the last afternoon of the week, and we've been working hard the whole week. We just realized how much we've been talking about everything, and we just had lunch finally. And I would say that the quest that we started Monday has now led us to, we have worked out a lot of things that we set out to do. And I think the most important thing that we found this week is that there's a lot of work to do still, I guess, and we have made some progress in mapping the landscape of the different possibilities of measuring continuation desire. We have made some progress in trying to find the pros and cons on the different methods, and more importantly, we have found out that actually it can be used for a lot, the thing we do.
It's actually much wider than what we started to work on in the first place. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So it applies for other kinds of media also, and not only games and interactive storytelling, and we can get a lot of inspiration by looking at other media also. And we also found different ways to seek for funding.
There is the issue of funding. We can actually really pursue that through various collaboration. But it's not all about funding, it's also about student collaboration projects, and because what we found out is defining a research program more than anything else, and that research program can be carried out through various different outlets, and student projects are actually a good way of breaking up some of the larger research areas into small bites projects. So we've been doing this morning. We've got a number of projects that have been set up already. It's very exciting also because that gives the students the opportunity of some sort of international collaborations for their projects. So that's been very exciting. We've already got a few lined up, and some students who are already bought into the project, so that's very interesting as well.
And we can see a lot of future projects coming up where we can use this evaluation of continuation desire to test the different experiences. And there's a lot of applications, and we also found that whatever field we go into and whoever we ask of the experts, they think it's an interesting concept to go in and look at continuation desire and go into the process, and not only looking at it afterwards or before the experience. And we have, yesterday with Faircloth, he said that there might be some related measures, but he didn't really hear about this continuation desire before. And Tusha also says that they don't look inside the process, they look if people are motivated before they start, and they look at it after, but not within.
Not within. There is also the other possibility. This is something we definitely need to push forward. Is because the concept is so wide, is stepping back from the artifact really. We can actually it can actually allow us to look at some more fundamental research in terms of storytelling, and it's very appropriate for being extended to narratology, which is something that we've been keen to explore at some point, and that we started to look into within Riders. So that's something that we want to push forward, and that's part of our next steps, next bit of work to do, and get people buying into the project and buying into the idea. So that's another thing that came out from this week as well.
And I think the Writers platform is really good to do this because we have so many people from so many different backgrounds and areas and so on. And here we have kind of a common denominator that everybody could be interested in looking more into, and that could also help the design of interactive narratives or role-play games and so on, like a design tool.
Yes, I mean, one of the main aims for writers is to get people together that might not have been getting together, you know, without PSRC funding. So this is really interesting because we need to develop that common language, but we also need to develop or re-explore the concepts that have been used in interactive storytelling, in computer science or AI, from different perspectives, from different practices, and there is definitely a lot of work that needs to be done in its direction. And the continuity desire that we've been looking at this week is something that every single interested parties have in common, and that is really one of those concepts that can really bring people together, and this is something we are going to carry out again in future Writers events.